Hello and welcome. I'm Eric Price with LI-COR Biosciences. In this video, I'll show you how to use the LI-3100C Leaf Area Meter. The first time you receive your instrument, there are a few things you'll need to do to get started. One of them will be to install the fluorescent lamp. We have a separate video about that. One of them will be to install the transparent belts. We have a separate video about that. And you'll need to open up the back of the instrument and do some general configuration the first time you use the instrument. Let's get started. The first time you use the instrument, you will need to remove the lens cap from the camera. Go ahead and gently remove that. You should also check the voltage selector switch. It is located behind this panel here. Simply slide this over. This allows you to select between 110, 120 volt AC power, which is common in the United States and other countries, or 220, 240 volts, which may be common in other countries around the world. So, the card itself has a number printed on it that should be visible. If it says 120, that means it's configured for 110 to 120 AC power. There's also a fuse right here above it, and you should change that fuse as well if you need to switch over to a different voltage setting. For the 110 volt setup, you should use the 1 amp fuse that comes in the spares kit. If you are configuring this instrument for 220 volts, you should use the 1/2 amp fuse. The way to remove the fuse is by pulling this little tab that's helpfully named Fuse Pull. So if you pull that to the left, the fuse pops out of place. And then you can place the new fuse in, and you may need to push it in a little bit and kind of get it to stay, and then slide that that tab across as well, and that will help push it into place. If you're using a different voltage than what is configured, you will need to remove this card as well. You might need to use pliers, just like that. And you can see there is 120 and 240 printed on it. So if I was swapping this to 240, I simply flip it over like this and insert it back into the instrument so that the 240 is still visible. Now that I've configured it for 240 volts, I slide the selector switch back on. I am now ready to put the cover back on and make measurements. After you've set up the instrument for the first time, you shouldn't need to do those steps again. Now, how to use the instrument. First thing you'll do is make sure that it is plugged into an AC power supply using the port on the back of the instrument. Then we will flip this switch here, and you should hear and see the belts turning on. Both of them should be moving, but you'll notice that we are getting constant accumulation in this display. And that's because we haven't turned the light on. So to turn the light on, you will hold down on this button for a little bit. You should see the ends of the lamp start to glow, and then when you release the button, the entire lamp should turn on. Just like that. Now you should see that the values have stopped increasing, or maybe increasing very slowly, and that's perfectly fine. So now we're ready to use our instrument. We will press the 0 button to reset the readings back to 0. Then we will place a leaf on the lower belt, and it will slide its way through. and we should see the numbers increase and then stop. And that is our leaf area. We've successfully measured one leaf. Now, if you're seeing some slight increase in accumulation even after you've zeroed it, that may indicate that you need to clean the belts or recalibrate. We have a separate video on how to do that. But in general, this reading should be very close to zero when there's no leaf passing through the conveyor assembly. And then, once you're ready to make a measurement, go ahead and place your leaf on the conveyor and let it slide through gently. We do want you to place the leaf sort of in the middle of the belt, not on one side or the other, unless your leaf is very large, in which case you may need to use the entire space. But these two guide rails here are to indicate where you should place your leaf, and you should generally place it in the middle. You can also connect your LI-3100C to a computer to log data. You will need either a USB cable, one that came in the spares kit, or a DB9 serial cable. It needs to be a null modem serial cable, but generally most people use a USB connector. You will connect your USB cable to the back of the instrument here. It also has a DB9 serial cable port as well. If you are using a USB cable, Windows 7, Windows 10, those devices will still treat it like a serial cable. So I'm going to open Device Manager first. And expand ports, COM, and LPT. And then when I plug in my USB cable, the instrument should appear. This shows that the driver is successfully installed and it is assigned COM port number 7. If you do not see the LI-3100 appear here, you may need to download the driver from the LI-COR website and install it. So now that I know which COM port I'm using, I can open my LI-3100C software. And it should look like this. If I click on Connection at the top, I can click Connect. And again, an interesting feature of Windows 7 and 10 is that instead of selecting USB, you actually have to select serial and enter the COM port number. In my case, it was 7. Once I click Connect, I should see some 0 values, and if I press the 0 button on the instrument itself, both readings should line up with each other now. I can either press the 0 button physically on the instrument, or I can press the reset counter button to set the readings back to 0. I put a leaf into my belt, and the readings should appear not only on the instrument, but on the computer software too. Now, to log data, we can go to File at the top and create new data file. Here we can enter the name of our file. We can enter the destination. We can browse our computer for where we'd like to save the file. You can enter any comments you'd like to enter, such as the person making the measurement, where these leaves came from, anything like that. You can also enter prompts. These would be questions that the software asks you every time you log a data point. So let's say one of our prompts could be which species we are working with. And so every time I log a data point, it will ask me what species. I will enter that in, and that will be saved in the data file along with my readings. Here are some options for what you would like to save: the observation number, the subtotal. You can even make subtotals of a larger total. It will also record the maximum width and the average width and the length of each leaf, something that you don't get with just the display alone. I'm going to select what I want here and click Create. And I'm going to reset my counter. And this button here is what you will use to actually log data. So I'm going to run my leaf through, my first leaf. See the number increase. And now I click Log Data. And so it's recording my first data point. It also prompts me, it asks me for my species, which I will just say it's a leaf, and log that data point. And now we can see all of the information here, the leaf area, the maximum width, the average width, and the length. All of those values are displayed here as well as in the log file. So let's pretend to log another data point and log that data here. Let's say leaf 2. Okay. So once you're done with your file, you can click on File again at the top and click Close Data File. All that information is gone from this view, but if we go to our directory, wherever we saved the file, it is a text file, and so we can open it in any text editor that you'd like, Notepad, Excel, any of that should work. And this is what the file looks like. It has the date and time that you started the file name, any comments you may have entered, and all of your information that you logged. So that is your text file. You can run it through Excel, through R, anything you like to process that data further. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and enjoyable. We have several other videos and resources on our website, and as always, feel free to contact us or your local distributor if you have any further questions.